Welcome to the Spanish countryside. Today we have some unusual content for you. You're used to seeing modern seaside homes with views, but I decided to invite you for a walk around a very unusual property. It's located in the town of Vall-Llobrega near the Costa Brava coast. And my name is Marina, you're on the Damlex Realty channel, and now let's go. And as usual, I've prepared a surprise for you, which I'll share at the end. And as I already said, we are in a small village in the town of Vall-Llobrega. You probably don't know it, but it's a very interesting, beautiful place. Around us is a quiet, peaceful nature reserve with no tourists. When we drove up here, roosters were crowing. This is for those who appreciate peace, quiet and tranquility. This is for you. As you've already realized, we are on an old estate. The plot area is 16,000 square meters. There are fewer and fewer plots and more modern people who want to escape the hustle and bustle. So if you are that person who is tired of the city bustle, of the stressful rhythm of your work and life, it's quite possible that this property is waiting just for you. Let's take a walk around this wonderful estate. How do estates differ? If you tell me architecture or large plots, that's the correct answer. But estates differ in that the land belonging to them is usually flat because they are far from the sea. The closer we get to the sea, the more cliffs and mountains we have, and therefore a more mountainous, uneven terrain. But on estates, we get open space. We trade proximity and walking distance to the sea for this kind of beauty, with swifts flying above you. Estates most often have their own wells, which of course allows you to save on water and build larger pools than is permitted near the sea. First, let me remind you, there are strict regulations governing the building footprint. In some zones, pools have also started to be counted in the building footprint. But on estates, when you have 1.5 hectares of land, you can of course build a much larger pool. Peace and quiet is the new luxury. And those aren't my words. I read that in a magazine where they were actually talking about what a 21st century person needs right now. This is the luxury that truly wealthy people are hunting for now. Our house faces two sides. We came in from one side, went around the house, and ended up in this area. Oh my, how the jasmine smells. I can't convey this scent to you, but believe me, it's very fragrant. BBQ area, sink. Look at this sink. By the way, such sinks can be bought at antique markets in Spain. They take them from old houses and masías that are being renovated, where the owners want to install something more modern, and junk dealers pick them up and resell them. They aren't cheap, by the way. An eternal material, they fit perfectly into this concept of houses. And look how interestingly it's made. The drain, well, there was no sewage system back then, so this is the drain. And everything goes out there, into the garden, watering some flowers with this water. Here we grill meat, here we wash things, and we have a lovely area in front of the house. There is another entrance. We are very close to the town center. You can walk there, that's really great. And it's a very rare thing to find an estate so close to amenities, because over there we have restaurants, shops, pharmacy. In short, you live on an estate with 16,000 square meters of land, but at the same time within walking distance of all town services. This is very, very rare. We have a covered terrace under a canopy where we can spend time on a hot day like today or in bad weather. And of course, in old houses, what I love is the gardens. Just look at this. You can't call it a bush, it's a tree. How beautifully it frames the white facade. You won't find this in new houses. A new house has everything new, both the house and the garden. And here we enter the hallway of this house. Here we can observe our famous Catalan vault. Vaults that were built without any special supports. I've said this many times, it's unique work. And now there are fewer and fewer specialists who know how to build this. And we can only find this in some old houses or houses styled to look old. And at the entrance, we are greeted by a piano. Why? To immediately lift your mood. And if your friends are celebrating and feasting there, musical accompaniment is at your service. Of course, you can set up this area however you want. If someone needs a wardrobe, please, you can put one, but I wouldn't do that because look at this mural. Anyone who has been to Barcelona has probably traveled to this mountain and will recognize it now. This is Montserrat Mountain, Montserrat Monastery, and our Black Madonna, to whom many pilgrims travel and ask for her help. And the walls, look at the walls here. Stone. Estates were built in such a way that many rooms are en suite. It's like in museums. Well, that's how it used to be done. And here we also observe this style a little bit. From the hallway, we enter a room that currently functions as a TV room. But it could be a workspace, it could be a guest room, if separated from the living room. Right here we have a guest bathroom. We have the living room here, a living room with a fireplace. Look at this wonderful bar made in a nautical style. Very cool, very atmospheric, and most importantly, it fits perfectly into the concept of this house. Now imagine yourself here on some winter pre-Christmas evening. The house is decorated with lights, a Christmas tree. Those same friends have come to visit, the fireplace, and here you are making them some delicious, strong or not so strong cocktails of this house. Now imagine yourself here on some winter pre-Christmas evening. The house is decorated with lights, a Christmas tree. Those same friends have come to visit the fireplace, and here you are making them some delicious, strong or not so strong cocktails and drinks. Wooden beams, of course, are an attribute of any Spanish estate. Without them, an estate is not an estate. Here they are in wonderful condition. I can see that even with the naked eye. It's very important to pay attention to this when you buy an estate, because termites and all kinds of bugs also eat wood. And if the owners don't keep it, and if then of course all these beams deteriorate, and replacing them is not a cheap pleasure. Omornuskol. Der kommt jetzt Fides. No, this shutters. Which I net record where's this for? Either glaze it all in or rebuild and expand this house. This won't be an easy task because you have to understand that in those days a house was a fortress and the wall thickness and how they were built to last. So moving walls in estates can be a very costly affair. This house has a perfectly wonderful living area, and there's no need to expand anything here. Another door leads us to a pantry and access to the parking. Also very practical, very convenient, because you have a place to store things, because a house is always full of things. The dining room, that is from the hallway, so you can orient yourself. We turn right and end up in the dining room with a fireplace. Look, a fireplace, the coat of arms of Catalonia, and the fireplace here is used, and the kitchen. The kitchen is quite modern in layout, but with details of old kitchens, like for example, this hanging shelf with hooks for copper cookware. It harmonizes beautifully with the modern coffee maker. This is a house for a large family that loves good food and, most importantly, cooking. Look, we have 6 burners here. Cook to your heart's content, whatever you want. And let's not forget about the BBQ. I really like this kitchen, and most importantly, you know what's good about this house? It's cool inside. Today is a very hot day, late May, but summer came upon us suddenly, and it's very comfortable to be in the house. The garage is located there. And also for an old masía, it's very cool that the layout is so well thought out. The garage, we arrived with groceries and we brought them into the kitchen. This is very convenient. All on one level, all without stairs. On this level, we have 1 bedroom, which allows accommodating an elderly relative, so they don't have to walk up the stairs. And we also have another pantry here. We won't film everything because, well, there are personal belongings there in case it's untidy, so nobody gets offended at us. We already have 1, 2, 3 fireplaces. 3 fireplaces in the kitchen, in this room, and in the living room. Let's go upstairs. No matter how many estates I've seen, they of course have one common building principle, but on the whole, they are all different and unique. What unites them? Always when going up to the 2nd floor, you end up in another hall, as in this case, and from this hall, the rooms are distributed. The bedroom, look at the great size, not small, with a view of the pool. The view here is wonderful. For those looking for privacy, this kind of property will be as comfortable as possible, because the closer to the sea, the smaller the plots. And if there is a large plot somewhere, then of course it will be very expensive. Another bedroom, also of quite decent size, and look at the view here. I'll even open the window for this. We must show you this. Let's go to the next bedroom. And in total, we already have 3 rooms, 1 downstairs, 2 here. A bathroom with a tub. And what's interesting in masías, in estates, they were built in such a way, usually families used to be large, to distribute all family members, and they are somehow zoned. Here we were in that part of the masía, now we've moved to this one. We have another bedroom with its own bathroom. This is already the master bedroom. The size is also not bad, you must agree. And living here, you won't be disturbed or have your peace disrupted by family members living on that side. This is again for those who have a light sleep, who want to escape from everyone. Here you go. There's another room here. It's used as an office. I won't go in there. well, another room that could be a bedroom and a utility room. Here we have, as you can see, a water heater, equipment, an additional pump for water supply, and, well, another small room like this that can be used if desired, for example, as a pantry too if it's needed. I'd like to say a few words about the heating system. Here, the heating system is diesel or from Fireplaces. That is, you light the fireplace and pipes are run in the fireplaces that are connected to the radiators and to the boiler. That is, the fireplace heats our water, and our water, just like with diesel or gas heating, is supplied hot here, meaning it heats up to 60 degrees, and in this way we heat the house through radiators, but using firewood. If you don't want such a system, there is also a diesel heating system. And now I invite you back to the garden, and I'll show you that very secret I kept for last. This is our Saint Jordi, or Saint George, slaying the dragon. In Spain, in Catalonia, there is a Saint Jordi holiday. It's a local Valentine's Day. Here, February 14th is not really, well, celebrated, but so-so. And Saint Jordi Day is in spring, in March, I think, or in April. I always forget the date. But I don't memorize it because the Catalans don't let me forget it. This holiday is celebrated everywhere, and by tradition, on this day, girls and women are given a rose and men a book. Regarding the plot, I'd like to note, this is another plus of this particular property. The plot here is 1.5 hectares, well, 16,000, slightly more than 1.5 hectares. And this is a very rare thing because, yes, hello, do you want to be filmed with us, yes? Yes!
You want to be a star? Yes. Yes. Aren't you sweet? Very often, we have estates for sale with 50 hectares of land, 100 hectares of land, and even more. And a modern person, of course, doesn't need such an amount of land because this land is all agricultural, arable. What do you do with it? You can't build anything, but you have to maintain it. You need to periodically clear this land for fire prevention. Therefore, 1.5 hectares of land is a very great size. On one hand, you have maximum privacy, a large piece of land. On the other hand, it's not excessively large. And as you will see later, there are fields across the road that is also land of this estate. Therefore, from my point of view, the plot size of this estate is quite correct, normal, not burdensome. There, and this little friend wants us to keep playing with him. Let's proceed further. Here, by the way, is the Madonna that is in this from Montserrat. This stone, I didn't ask the owners, but these are probably millstones. They were used for grinding, right? And now they are used for decor. Grapes, orange, these are all fruit trees. Ah, pomegranate. Look, this is also a pomegranate. And look what a gorgeous pomegranate, already blooming. Well, I think anyone who is into equestrian sports has probably already guessed where we've come. And this is that small but very important secret that I left for last. You can keep horses here quite officially. Why is this important? Because in Spain, not on every land, even if you have 100 hectares there, but if there is no permit allowing stables to be built there, nobody will allow you to keep horses there. Here it is available. I perfectly understand that this format of real estate in Spain is unusual for you because Spain for everyone is sea, palm trees, sun, sand. Probably, I think, after all, I'm inclined to believe the psychologists from the magazine who wrote that article dedicated to the fact that peace, quiet, and free time are the luxury of the 21st century. At the last,
Realtors Congress, which I attended in April, very interesting data was presented. Over the past year, the demand for this type of real estate, such as estates and agricultural land, Spain. And I think that this is precisely due to the fact that people are tired of the endless hustle, of striving, of successful success, and they just want to live, to enjoy this life away from city bustle, from tourists, as is the case with Costa Brava, Spain. Therefore, if you are that person who is burnt out, wants to rest, wants to escape from everything, but at the same time live not far from infrastructure and civilization, this house might suit you perfectly. We are located just some 30 minutes drive from Girona Airport to the Costa Brava coast. Well, about 15 minutes. By the way, my friends, if we go leaving this town of Vall-Llobrega without going onto the highway, we continue straight ahead. We end up at my favorite beach, Platja de Castell. Also cozy with no hotels, surrounded by a nature reserve. From this place to the beach, well, I don't know, maybe a 15-minute drive. Can you imagine how beautiful? That is, you live here in peace and quiet, and your beach has no tourists and no hotels. In short, if you have any questions left, write. I'll gladly answer, arrange a visit for you in any format. And let me remind you, my name is Marina. You're on the Damlex Realty channel. Subscribe to us, click on the bell, leave comments. And know that here we talk about life in Spain and show the most unusual properties. And if you subscribe to us, you will always be up to date with the hottest news from the world of Spanish real estate. Well, and if you need professional advice from someone with more than 20 years of experience in the real estate sector in Spain, you know where to turn. See you soon. Bye-bye.